I'm Kirk. I'm one of the counselors with Cornerstone. Welcome to the Ask It Basket panel. I can't promise. So this is an Ask It Basket panel on recovery. This is not an Ask It Basket panel on how to make the program better. Okay? The How to Make the Program Better panel is, you can do that like at Climbers or in your family session. I'm not really the guy for like that department, and neither are these people. But there is a tremendous amount of recovery experience and Cornerstone recovery experience on this panel today. And so we're all just gonna start with introducing ourselves and what your relationship is with the program and with recovery. So I work for Cornerstone. I'm one of the founders. This is the other one. Brenda and I founded Cornerstone in 1999. It's very emotional for me coming back to the Saturday meeting. I've been running a meeting in one form or another at this church on Saturdays since 1995. And, we were joking about it beforehand, but I remember the first time in this room, this is where the kids met, and we'd have the tables set up. And when we had the first meeting we ever had, where we had 10 kids at a meeting, and we were like, what are we gonna do, man? There's so many kids in the program. And then the first meeting that we had, where there were kids that sat all the way around the table, and we didn't have spaces for them. There were so many kids there. We were like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna set up the meeting? And so, to come in here and see, 40 or 50 parents sitting in this room is, it's just cool. It's cool, it's inspiring, and it's affirming to me about the recovery process. I'm in recovery myself, as well as doing this professionally. I've been active in 12-step recovery for over 30 years now. Still active in working the steps and working with a sponsor. And a lot of my recovery work is focused on steps 10, 11, and 12, and has been for the last 4 or 5 years. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brenda. Brenda. I started coming to meetings for my adolescent son when he was 14. He is now 38. And by the grace of God, he is alive, because most that have lived his life of addiction are not. I am still in recovery. I have a sponsor. I go to meetings at least twice a week. Like Kirk said, when we had 5 parents, it was a big meeting. And when we had to start taking 2 rooms upstairs in the other building and negotiating with the church that we needed more space, it was oh my gosh, we need more rooms. We would have 50, 60, sometimes 70 plus parents at Saturday meetings, and it was awesome. So to be back at this church on a Saturday is, it brings back a flood of memories. Y'all are all brand new faces, and yet I see all the faces I've seen. I know none of you, and yet I know all of you. So I'm happy to be here.
Hold the mic closer to your mouth, all of you, especially the girls. Yeah, thank you.
I'm Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
So I got sober back in 2007, and 6 months later found out my son was doing drugs. So that was like a God moment. Thank goodness I got sober in time to see that my son was in real trouble. So we made it into Cornerstone in handcuffs. Pretty much, my son was in handcuffs. We sent him to Sundown, and then he came to Cornerstone. That was in 2007 or 8. I don't know. Anyway, thank God for recovery is what I have to say to you. I love Cornerstone, and I'm very passionate about Cornerstone, so I'm excited about being here and talking about it and seeing new faces who I know you're just going to have a miracle happen, and I'm excited for you guys too. So thank you guys.
Aubrey, what were you saying?
Try not to bang the table. Try not to touch the table. I'm sorry, I'm
Okay, that's fine.
micromanaging here.
That's fine.
Hi, I'm
I'm only gonna bang it when I make a point.
I joined Cornerstone in 2019, early in the year, and I awakened this April, and my whole family got involved in the program. I am still active in my recovery. I work with a sponsor and Worth the Steps, and I sponsor within Cornerstone. I came into Cornerstone after having been to treatment twice in a mental hospital, and I'm really grateful for Cornerstone, and it's really more than just changed my life, but really affected my entire family and the way that we operate as a family, and so I'm very grateful for that.
Cool. All right, we're gonna just jump right into it. So bear with me with some of the stuff. Why should I drive all the way to the Saturday meeting? Why is it necessary if I'm going to everything else? Climbers, Thursdays, meeting with my sponsor. What was your experience like for having to travel for your recovery? Was it worth it? What did you do when you couldn't make a Saturday meeting because of your job, etc.? Okay, so I don't want to, and we got some dudes in here that like on the panel that had to do a lot of traveling with their recovery. So I'm a big believer in, commitment. I'm a big believer in being willing to go to any lengths, but I also understand reality sometimes, and that like, so it's like, what do you do if you can't make a Saturday meeting because of your job or other kids? Well, you can't make a Saturday meeting because of your job and your other kids. Totally cool. Like, it's like, there's a balance in there. You got to take care of your other kids, but am I being honest with myself? A lot of times it's not a binary choice with me, with my commitments, with planning, execution, things like that. It's like I can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes it's not a binary choice. Why should I drive all the way to the Saturday meeting? Because it's a helpful meeting for you. And it like that gets into the willingness question. And it's like, and it also gets into I don't want to like talk forever, but it also gets like into a level of denial. Like denial is part of this addiction. Denial is part of mental the substance abuse, addiction, the mental illness aspect. And what denial says is it's not my problem. Denial says you did all this shit. You hurt the family. You need to work harder. Okay? That's what denial says. Denial says I still need to do me. Okay? Well, I got my things, my comfort zone, my stuff. And it's like, and I'm not beating anybody up for that, but what denial does is it perpetuates the sickness. All right? It perpetuates things not getting better. This is not something that can be fixed. This is not something that can be fixed. This is a lifestyle. There needs to be a break in the dam, and the dynamics in the family need to change if you're going to have a chance at sustainable recovery. And so it's like whether it's driving to the Saturday meeting or going to a parent retreat or going to step study, it's like there's some things I can do and there's some things I can't do, and that's okay. But am I looking in the mirror and answering those things honestly, or am I looking for an out? Am I opting out with that stuff? Some of the drivers that drove all the time can talk to this question too.
Well, I drove in from the Woodlands every Saturday, but not in the beginning. I'll just tell you that because I felt so overwhelmed, and I was going to all the other meetings, but I thought Saturdays, I don't need to go, right? Well, at some point, Kirk told me, Ben has not yet bought into the program. And then I went to a ladies' retreat, and somebody wrote we were supposed to give an affirmation to all our fellow ladies, and one of mine said, "You seem like a nice enough person, but you haven't committed," which pissed me off. I mean, it pissed me off because I thought, all this stuff I'm doing and I haven't bought in, right? So I started coming to the Saturday meetings, and what I realized was that my tribe was bigger than I thought it was, for one thing. And I'll tell you too that at our meetings in the Woodlands, a lot of times we kind of heard the same things over and over. And it was so refreshing to come to the Saturday meetings, see the rest of my tribe, hear what the rest of my tribe had to say, and helped me grow. And it helped me know how supported I really was, because we became friends. We used to go to lunch after Saturday meetings. I don't know if y'all do that, but that was a big time. But what I learned is that once I further committed, and don't think for a second that your kid doesn't know whether or not you go to the Saturday meetings, because they're looking, they are watching. And when my son would see us, he'd sometimes wave, sometimes he'd come over. But once I got really committed, guess what? So did my son. So yeah, it's important for a lot of reasons. Guess what? Some of the other parents need to hear what you have to say. It's a cool deal. Do as many things as you can. They're tugging on me.
That's going to be a common theme with these two. They got a lot to say.
Okay, I drove from Sugar Land, and we didn't have meetings back there then. So our meetings were either in the medical center or here at this church. I left a 3-year-old daughter at home a lot. I would like to focus on that from a standpoint that you do have to find balance. There are things that she tells me now as a 28-year-old that, yeah, I got a pang of guilt because I was trying to save my son. And he was not at the meetings much because he was often in treatment or somewhere else. So I did kind of have that denial thing that Kirk mentioned going on, like, why the hell am I sitting here? I'm the only one. You know, I was often that one that didn't have a kid in the program. And so at some point I kind of got, probably from him, the same type of message, you need to commit. And once I did, and I started doing parent retreats and running parent retreats and having mom retreats and having moms over at the house. And I was never the mom that did all that, but I was involved enough that it kept me really grounded, and it aided my recovery. I found out why. When I related my recovery and put my son's recovery over in another box, and I knew that he had to get it for himself, but that I could take my recovery and apply it to my life, and that if I was lucky and God was there for him, he would get it in his time. And so, yeah, the travel is a pain in the ass, but it's totally worth it. You didn't have to.
So my mom not only drove to the Saturday meeting, but we live about 50 minutes away, and so she drove me to outpatient and back every single day. Well, all the outpatient days, and then also to the Saturday meeting. And for myself, like Kirk mentioned, it was definitely like a thing that I was like, okay, I have to show myself that it doesn't matter what it takes, like this is more worth it. But from a kid's standpoint, for a long time, one thing that I really struggled with coming in with my mom and I's relationship was shit, and not great, sorry.
That's all right.
And for a long, I just felt that I was always pointed to as the reason that there were issues, and that my mom had kind of quit on putting effort into fixing things, and so left it up to me. And so when my mom started coming to Saturday meetings and started driving me to outpatient every day, even though I did not tell her this for a long time, it kind of finally felt like she wasn't quitting and she didn't leave it up to me to fix everything. Like it was the first step in me feeling like she actually acknowledged that, not that anything was her fault, but that she had a part to play. And so it really changed the face of my relationship with her long term, because I saw that she wasn't quitting on me, and I felt for a long time like she was. And so it really went a long way for me that my mom was also willing to drive 50 minutes every day into the Saturday meeting and actually putting effort in. So that's what I've got.
And then just the other thing that I'd add is, or like a couple other things, is that it's easy to commit to something if the outcome is guaranteed. All right, like I'm all about it, right? And this is real commitment, though, the outcome isn't guaranteed. You have to, being committed to the process, being committed to the work without knowing what the outcome is going to be. Because the outcome could be, this picturesque Cornerstone story, where, Tammy's son is sober like 12 years later, or Brenda's story where her son's been in and out of jail and rehabs for like the last 20 years. But it's easy to commit to something when the outcome's guaranteed. We're not here to guarantee. And that still feeds into that like denial prospect or a denial perspective, because it's, we want it fixed. I'll commit to it if it's guaranteed to fix the problem. Well, we can't do that. And anybody that's selling you that, run. The reality of the mental health issue and the addiction issues is the most successful program out there, for real, is AA. And their success rate is at best 7%. Okay? So anybody that's selling you a real guaranteed answer, or you can drink normally again, or this or that, you need to run away from them as fast as you can. The best people are the people that look at you and say, you better be ready to work really, really, really hard. And this is going to suck for a while. And that's not what you...